Hello, Haven here to help you show your house some love with a home maintenance tip. Today we will be discussing upgrading your washing machine hoses to a stainless braided hose. Now you might not know that the rubber hoses that come with your washing machine have a list of problems associated with them. First of all, they are meant to be replaced every 5 years. This is because hoses can dry out and crack and cause leaks over time. A typical washing machine will use between 30 and 45 gallons of water per load. If your hoses were to burst or to leak, that can cause significant water damage. In order to avoid that, or if it's just time to upgrade your hoses, today we'll be discussing how to upgrade those rubber hoses that you have to the stainless braided type. For this, we're going to need a few things and we'll discuss this. To get us started, you're going to need a 5-gallon bucket for any water that may drain from your hose. You will need a towel or a tarp to place down to keep your workspace clean. You will need a set of pliers to either tighten or loosen the hoses. You will need to pick up a set of stainless braided hoses for your washing machine. The first step before we replace the hoses will be to unplug the washing machine. The second step first will be to turn off the water supply at the valves. Now I have my bucket and my towel set up, so I'm all set to start disconnecting the hoses from the washing machine. Alright, we're going to start disconnecting our hoses. You might have to loosen these with those pliers that we got to start. Alright. All set. For our next step, we're going to disconnect these hoses from the water supply valves. Again, you might have to use pliers to loosen these. Excellent. If by chance you have a steam dryer, off of your hoses, you might have this Y adapter here. This allows you to get the water or the steam supply to your dryer. We have one, so we're just going to go ahead and disconnect it from the Y adapter. Now, if you have a Y adapter, you want to make sure you pick up enough hoses. A typical installation will require 2 hoses, and that's just for your hot and cold to your washing machine. If you have a steam dryer, you're going to want to pick up 4 hoses. All right. For our steam dryer, the last step we're going to do is disconnect the water supply hose from the back of the dryer. Something to show you guys really quick on these rubber hoses, they do tell you to replace them. It's hard to see, but right here it says replace every 5 years. And it even has the date. For this one, it's going to be May 2017. So it is something that we want to do at least every 5 years, if not sooner. My recommendation is actually once you get the wash machine, at that point, you just install steel braided hoses to begin with. To get started on the replacement of our hoses, I'm just going to work in reverse. So the last thing that I did was remove the water supply from our steam dryer. That's where I'm going to start. If you don't have a steam dryer, you can go ahead and skip this point. Hand tighten as well as you can, and at this point I am going to recommend that you use your pliers to tighten that. Excellent. Now that I have my Y adapter connected, I'm going to connect this hose to the feed supply of the Y adapter. I'm going to take the other end and get it connected to the cold water supply. again, you're going to want to go through with your wrench and tighten up these connections. As the final step, I'm going to be taking the connection from the Y adapter that comes from the cold supply and connect it to the cold intake. See here where it's labeled cold? To the cold intake on the back of the washing machine. Now don't be confused because these cables are color coded red and blue. Because I have a Y adapter set up, I needed 3 cables, and because each package comes with 1 red, 1 blue, we're left with an odd number. So even though this one is red, it is in fact coming from the cold water supply, so I'll be connecting this to the cold inlet on my washing machine. Last connection will be connecting the hot water supply. There we go. Last step, connecting the hot water supply. Now again, all these connections we want to hand tighten as much as possible, and then we're going to tighten it with a wrench. Perfect. Once all of our hoses are connected, we want to turn our water supplies back on. Then run your hands along these joints too. Make sure you don't feel any water. Last thing we're going to do is plug our washing machine back in. And now we're all set with upgraded steel hoses for our washing machine.